Buying tax deeds online. Well, welcome back. Over the past few decades, tax lien property and tax deed tax liens, they've become the safest high interest investment across America. So today I'm going to share with you how to buy tax deeds and tax defaulted property online. So you just need to open up your mind. Let's let this new information fall in. I've been doing this for a number of years, over 30 years, since I started doing tax liens and deeds. I got in this business after already being in real estate, but I found this one doesn't have the highs and lows. It stayed level, and there's no recessions in this business. So I'm going to show you how I recently bought multiple properties online using a credit card. How about that? Using a credit card. Now, I don't want to run out of time, but I do want to tell you on the very end of this video, I'm going to give you 2 mistakes that you want to avoid at the auction. Now, I watch newcomers and experienced investors make these mistakes at auctions, so I'm going to show you how to avoid them. So stay tuned so you can see all that. I'll be right back.
I got 18% of my money.
3.7 times our investment.
We sold it for $27,000, so I tripled my money.
We're expecting to make $83,000 on those 4. We still have 3 left with an extra 25. So in total, it will bring us $108,000.
It's this house. We bought 20 cents on the dollar, and we're going to profit over $39,000 when we sell this one.
But what's most important is to follow the TED system, step by step. His system, fantastic. That's why I master it.
How to buy tax deeds or tax defaulted property online. The answer is pretty simple. However, you might want to take a little training. Let me tell you why. Every one of you looked at the swimming pool and said, oh, I can't swim. Well, sooner or later, you get your foot in the water and you learned how to swim. So it was pretty easy to look at it and think you were going to do it, but when you tried swimming, it wasn't so easy. You got a lot of water up your nose and your ears were full and whatever. You got the point, all right? How about a car? You can read about driving in a car, but until you turn that wheel a few times and you see the posts and you see the street getting smaller, well, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so what's the first thing you do at an auction? Well, you're going to have to register. You can do that online. Now, these properties are going to be sold to the highest bidder. So they're going to take a little information from you. You're also going to have to make a deposit, but they're going to do all that online via your bank. In other words, they're actually going to take some money out of your account, or you're going to send it to them out of your account, and the auctioneer is going to hold that money, okay? Now, I like to teach people one way to buy real estate that's different than everyone else. Now, I say to my buyers, I want you to buy low at the auction. You see, I'm a firm believer, and you will be too if you stay around real estate. You make your money when you buy. Now, let me say that again. You make your money when you buy. So let's see if we can buy properties at rock bottom prices. Tax defaulted properties are sold at auctions with a starting bid very close to the back taxes with no mortgage. So that means you probably got a 60, 70, 80% discount. Well, that's buying it low. I like to hear people do that. Now I want you to just mark it up enough to make a nice profit, 25 grand or so, and then resell it. Now, a lot of people say, Ted, I don't want to leave all that money on the table. Well, I'm telling you, leave the money on the table, let someone else make some money, and let's make it all happen and get the cash flowing. 90% of my clients tell me, I need more cash flow. You probably need more cash flow too. All right, so let's talk about properties and how you do want to buy them. All right, so let's say it's a $100,000 property, and you buy it for $30,000. Well, some people are saying, wow, I bought it for $30,000, it's worth $100,000. I've got a lot of margin. Why don't you just sell it to a fixer-upper guy or gal and make yourself 30 grand and move on? Now, think about what a win-win situation that is. Someone that you sold it to has got a property to work on. They're going to make some money, of course. You just made some money, and guess what? The county got paid. That's a win-win situation for everybody. So I'm saying buy it low, sell it low, move on to the next one. I can show you dozens of students that have done that over the years and made some pretty big checks. Now, once you learn how to do this online, you can only work 5 to 10 focused hours a week if you want. Now, if you want to work a lot more than that, you can do it in 5 to 10 focused hours. Now, I have clients, I said a minute ago, that only work 5 to 10 focused hours a month. For example, I've got one woman that's been with me now a few years, and she actually lives in Costa Rica, which is in Central America. Now, because she's an online person, she's really savvy with online process, she does her research online, and she buys in places like Los Angeles, California, and she gets properties for less than 10 cents on the dollar because she's watching what she's doing and she knows how to sell. She doesn't hold out to get a lot of money. She'll sell it quickly, make herself 20, 25,000 and move on. Now, if you could do that from your kitchen table or a little desk in an office, I know you want to do that. So it's not unusual for that to happen. Now, I have clients that live in other states that wanted to buy, say, in Washington State. Well, I've got one man he started out small, but it didn't take him long to really catch on. He purchased a property in Washington State, and he spent round numbers about $130,000, and he sold it and made $125,000. He almost doubled his money on that one property. Now, think about that. He did the whole thing online. Now, he sold the property in 4 days. Now, folks, you're not going to sell a property in 4 days unless you price it right. Now, did he leave money on the table? Yes, he left a lot of money on the table, but he didn't care. He almost doubled his money. So that's the kind of approach you want to take to it. Online buying is a whole new way, and it's going to be the wave of the future because a lot more people are going to want to go to those auctions. All right, so what is a tax deed? Let's make sure you understand. So first of all, if a property in half of the states are called tax deed states, if a property in that state, property owner does not pay their tax, well, I'm going to tell you, the treasurer is going to take action. First, they levy the tax, then they collect the tax. And if you don't pay the tax, they're going to confiscate the property. Now, if they confiscate that property, they don't want it. They want to sell it. And they just want to sell it to get the tax money. They're not in the business of trying to make profits in real estate. So they want to sell it, get the tax money, and then you can do whatever you want with the property. Well, what if you could buy a property with a 60, 70, or 80% discount? Does that open up a whole bunch of margin for you? Well, of course it does. Well, once you have that property, you can do anything you want with it. Why not just sell it and make some money? Now, if you can do that online, think about that. How would you sell it? Well, you've heard of Craigslist. You've heard of eBay. You've heard of Marketplace. There's dozens of places, I can't name them all right now, where you can sell property. Why not use all of them? Why not use a broker also? Use everybody you can, see if you can get the thing sold. So the first thing that you need to do, if you want to be an online buyer, is you get to step back and look at what you're trying to do. First thing you want to do, get the auction rules. Start going to the auction online and watching. Just watch. What does it cost you to watch? Keep your hands in your pocket. Don't do any bidding. Watch and see what happens at these online auctions. Now, folks, if you've been with me for any time at all, put your questions in the box below. I always answer all the questions. I'm happy to do that. If you have questions, put them down there, and then I'll answer your question, and I'll send you a great gift. Okay, how to buy tax deeds and tax defaulted property has been the question I'm trying to answer today. All right, so first of all, we did a little research, then we made a deposit. Now think about making a deposit. Some auctions will require you make a deposit to show up. For example, Los Angeles County will say you must pay $5,000 before you walk in the door. All right, now anybody that walks into that auction has already paid something. So if they raise their hand and bid and they don't follow up, that $5,000 is going to be gone. They're going to keep it. All right, now if you don't bid and you don't spend the money, they do refund it. So think about that. And we can talk a lot about Los Angeles. The auction is so big, I can show you a book. Maybe I have one here. Let me see if I got it. I don't see it. Yeah, I do. Here's a book. I'm just got a little desk over here next to me here. Folks, Los Angeles auction. I'm just going to hold up the book for Los Angeles, okay? Look at the properties I'm going to say. All of these properties are sold for the back taxes starting bid. They'll have anywhere, the lowest I've ever seen in Los Angeles is 1,500 properties, but it's not unusual for them to have 2,500. I'm talking about the county. I'm not talking about the mammoth state of California. So this is big business. There's always too much. Now, hold on. This is a win-win for everybody. You're going to win because you're going to get a bargain property. The county's going to get paid because they got their money, so they're happy. What about the next guy? So buy it low, sell it low, just move it on to them. If you can make a nice profit on that property, go ahead. Now, some people make $100,000 on one deal. I'm not going to promise you that, but I tell you, we don't even get involved in properties that don't make $25,000 and $50,000. All right, so what's the strategy here? Let's learn how to do it online. We have full-time classes on that. We have coaches to help you out. Listen, there's other videos on how to do this below me, and you can just tune in and watch those whenever you want. Now, I'm about to finish up because I'm running out of time, but I'm going to answer 2 questions before I go.
Ted, first question. Will you tell us about how you bought multiple properties recently online using a credit card?
Okay, so multiple properties. All right. Now, not all states or counties sell online. But I'll give you 2 states right away so that you know. One is Michigan and another is New York. So I'm used to paying cash at an auction, but my coaches came to me and said, wait a minute, Ted, a lot of our students want to learn how to do this online. So here's how simple it is. First of all, I looked up the auctions in New York, and I found counties where I like the property. Now, I want to buy a property that's like a colonial house, 3,000 square feet or something like that. So I want to buy a decent-sized property. Now, if I'm looking at brochures like this, there's tons of these brochures, places like New York, and what they'll do is they'll send me a brochure, like this one here is Franklin County. This one here is, Sullivan County. I bought a property there. I did it online, too. All right, so here's Sullivan County. This is their brochure. They've got about, let me see how many properties, about 300 properties they have to sell. Now, let me just show you. Look at that. Open it up. These are all the properties. So I found one I wanted, and then I said to my assistant, all right, get me the numbers and the phone and whatever. So I get on the phone, and I get online, and guess what? They said, yes, you can buy online with a credit card. So that's exactly what I did. So I went to the auction looking at a camera, just like I'm looking at you right now, and they put that up on the screen, the property, and every property has a number. And so the auction was going on in the room. So those people were bidding in the room, and I was bidding online, and I won 9 different properties that way in a few days in the state of New York. Now, you don't want to buy 9 properties. You want to buy one and then sell it so you know how. But when I go to the auction, I mean, I'm a serious investor, and you want to be a serious. Matter of fact, that's who you want to learn from. You want to learn from serious investors. You don't want to get some guy that's bragging about how much money he made. He's never done a deal. No, we're in the business of doing deals. Matter of fact, all my coaches are. Anyway, so you can buy online in those 2 states and use a credit card. All right. Now check around as you start checking. There's 5,000 auctions this year, 3,000 different counties. Believe me, I don't know all 3,000 different counties. I find one that I like, I start buying there. Then if they don't have any, then I move to another county. There's so much abundance here. We'll never run out. I get in this business because there's no depression and there's no high. It's always like this. You can do this business. I've been doing it for 25 years without stopping.
Ted, second question. You can't be serious. You have to pay $5,000 before you enter the room in Los Angeles as a deposit?
Okay, folks. Now, I know that sounds a little crazy, but this is the world of the weird that we work in here. All right, Los Angeles County is a large population county. So the challenge there is everyone in the state of California is in love with real estate. So if they say they're going to have an auction, what happens when people hear the word auction, it's like they had a big bell that goes off and they had bang, 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 and they think bargain, bargain, bargain. So they all rush down to the auction. Nobody does any homework, and they're all saying they don't know what the hell they're doing. So the county finally said, look, we can't even hold the auction downtown. They actually moved the auction out to the Pomona Fairgrounds. Now think about this. Pomona's like 60 miles from downtown. You got to go out to the fairgrounds in a big arena where they usually have, horse things and cattle and all these things, the 4-H, what have you. It's where they have the county fair. So they've got this huge arena. And they'll have 1,000 people at this auction. Every one of them paid $5,000. Why? Because the county said, you can't come to the auction unless you give it. So that it's just their way to eliminate people. So they're not going to have all the looky-loos standing there. Oh, that $1 million property, I saw it go, blah, blah, blah. That's not what they want. This is serious business. Now, let me show you. This is a serious business. Folks, we're talking about millions and millions of dollars in property here. They only want people in the room that got money. All right, so they say, you want to come to our auction? You're welcome to come. Send your $5,000. They cash the check. I'm telling you right now. They cash the check. Now, when you leave, they know who bought. Everybody that bought, well, their $5,000 went towards the purchase. Everybody that didn't buy, they refunded. But they eliminate a lot of people that way. But at the auction, I'm going to tell you, I was sitting in a room with well over 1,000 people behind me, and I could barely see the front. So I'm telling you, people want to go to these auctions, but they don't want to do their homework. I'll tell you who the winner is at every auction. I'll tell you right now, I've been doing it for 25 years. The people that do the research, we tell them what to do. They do the research, we tell them what to do. They do the research, you get the idea. I promise you I'd tell you about 2 mistakes. Now, the 2 mistakes are happening all the time at auction, and I see this happening with newcomers, and I also see it happening with experienced investors. So let me tell you what I see going on, and I hope you'll be able to avoid these mistakes. So number 1 is people show up at the auction, they're excited, they want to make money, so they start bidding. Well, if you haven't looked at the property, you should not start bidding. How do you know what's actually there? Is that property next to a chicken farm that might have a lot of odors? Or has that property burned down? Could there have been a hurricane this past week? I mean, who knows if you're just buying a number on a sheet of paper. So you need to look at the property. So boots on the ground, eyes on the property are very important. Now, you don't necessarily have to be there yourself, but you darn sure better have somebody check that property before you buy. So that's mistake number one. Now, mistake number two is similar, and I see this happening on a regular basis, and people are showing up at the auction. They're all excited, but someone beats them out of a property because they either bid higher or whatever. Well, that's nothing to worry about. There's always plenty of auction properties. However, you don't want to just start bidding without having an exit strategy. Now, what's an exit strategy? Well, folks, you have to know what you're going to sell it for if you're going to start bidding. You don't want to start bidding so that you're the winning bidder. That isn't important. The winning bidder can just bid too much money, and that's what they do. And then you can't sell it because you're into the property at too high a price. So there's two exit strategies, two things you need to really be thinking about. One, look at the property. Two, you have to have an exit strategy. All right, now I have a nice gift for you below. It's called a Safe Haven. You'll love this. It's going to teach you about tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property. So there's your chance. You're going to get that absolutely free. It's my gift to you. Just register below, and I'll see you on the next video.